Hi guys, Konstantin here from CGC. So I don't come out to the light much, but when I do, I just I want to say something, and I have something that I want to discuss about. So in this case, what we've got is we've got some resurfaced photos of the GeForce 4090 Ti model that was never released cooling, which apparently, due to the latest rumors that we've got, they have been repurposed, should I say? Yeah, repurposed is probably the best one. They've been repurposed to make a cooling solution for the upcoming GeForce 5090. At least this is what the latest rumor that I've heard and I've read from multiple sources I've got. So the sources would be like, among those sources, they're just like Copy7 Kimi, which is like the biggest leaker of them all for NVIDIA gear, and I would say about 95% of his leaks, even more, are absolutely true. So when he says something, I tend to believe it, and I tend to want to talk about it and write about it and stuff like that. So the discussion that we're going to have today is I'm going to have a quick discussion about the cooling system itself, because I've seen people with different various opinions. One of them is, why does it have two fans? It should have at least 3 fans. The fans are too small. Why are the fans so small? And stuff like that. And why is it made out of 3 bits? As in, because the rumors are that the new GeForce 5090 will be made out of 3 PCBs. So it will be far away and absolutely exotic from what we are used to, like 1 PCB, like 1 board, 1 GPU, everything is on that board. A cooler, a heatsink is attached to it, some fans, and that's it. There you go, GPU. This time they're actually spinning it a little bit. We're gonna get something else. At least this is what the rumors are telling me. So from we've got 5 photos I want to go through real quick and just discuss what's going on in them. And once we do that, hopefully I'll put the video on YouTube, and hopefully people are happy. I'm happy for people to comment on it and see what people's opinions are. So the first photo I'm looking at is a photo with the side of the GPU, which is the side that's going to be facing forward towards the user from the computer. And on this side you can see the massive heatsink, which is big. It looks like it will be a 4-slot GPU, definitely 4-slot, not between 3 and 4, not 3.5, 375. 4-slot GPU. The thing that stands out to me really quick is the fins. Looks like it's got a massive number of fins, which means they've looked at the problem, and they've decided that if they increase the number of fins and they make it thinner, they actually, well, it's just pure physics. I also have an engineer background, so I'm not making stuff up. By increasing the number of fins, and you actually increase the surface for the heat dissipation on the heatsink, so you've got more surface to dissipate the heat. Therefore, you can dissipate more heat, and you can dissipate heat quicker. That's why they've only used 2 fans, which we can see in this photo here. So you've got a bottom fan and a middle fan. Now it looks like they've just the second fan. So this is in terms of number of fans, it's the same number of fans that we've got on the current 4090 series. It's just that the one of the fans has been moved towards the center of the heatsink rather than just left on the side like they've normally done with the 4090. Now I've presumed that this is done just because right next to that fan there's at least one heat dissipation surface, which we'll see in the next photos, and by moving that fan close to the heat dissipation surface, they're actually providing better cooling for that area. And something tells me that right next to that fan there is the actual GPU die, which apparently the rumors say it will be just like the Blackwell generation for the AI GPUs. It will be 2 dies connected one with the other, so 2 GPU dies connected one with the other. So at least we're getting that from the AI chip Blackwell. So that's really good, because that actually makes sense in terms of the performance rumors that we've currently got. I'm sorry I digress, but I have to. So the performance rumors that we've got for the GeForce 5090 are that it will be an absolute monster. In order to deliver such performance, considering that the node at which it will be produced hasn't changed much, it's still a variation of N4, so they haven't moved to 3 nanometer yet. Considering the node is pretty much the same, so they can cram just as much transistors. With all the optimizations they could do, the only thing to squeeze that they would have done to squeeze out the performance that they're actually talking about is literally to get the 2 GPU dies in there as well for the gaming graphics that they've done on the AI graphics. So that's amazing. Anyways, going back to the picture itself. So yeah, they've moved the fan towards the center. You've got a higher number of fins there, which is a high surface of heat dissipation. The fins aren't very they're just they're small in width, which means, you know, they're gonna dissipate the heat. They're gonna capture the heat and dissipate it really quickly. So again, you don't need a massive cooler with a massive static pressure applied on it there to get the heat out, because the fins are very thin themselves. They will dissipate the heat really quickly. So yeah, if you ask me, 2 fans are more than enough for this model. Could they have put 3 fans? Maybe, yeah, but probably they've done some calculations, and it resulted that probably the first fan wouldn't have made much of a difference, and they were just doing fine with just 2 fans. Now, looking at the whole layout, there is a possibility that there is a third fan on top on the right hand side, top right hand side of this photo, but I can't see it. And from the 5 photos that have been leaked, I can't tell 100% sure that there is a third fan on top, but there is a chance that the third fan is already installed, but we don't see it at the moment. So yeah, diagonally, if you look at it, there could be a third fan on the upper right hand side of this photo, but you never know. One thing we can notice is you've got the 12-volt high power connector, which seems a bit more, how should I say it? It seems chunkier than what we currently have. So probably they strengthened it a bit. They might have reinforced it. It does seem like it's a better version or a newer version than what we currently have, because there's been people complaining about GPUs melting connectors and stuff like that. But it seems like the power connector is improved from the previous 4090 generation. At least this is what it looks like. Obviously, they're gonna have to test it. We're gonna have to test it. Right, I think we've exhausted this side. In terms of fan, what else I might add in terms of fan size? I can't really tell from the photo itself if the fans are larger than the current 4090 model or not. They might be very comparable. They might be same size or slightly larger. So the one thing I could say is they're definitely not smaller. They're either same size or slightly larger. The side of the GPU, there's not much to talk about this one. The only thing that I can say is, looking at it, I can confirm that from the side photo that I've got, it will be, I'm pretty sure this is a 4-slot GPU. It is massive. It is 4-slot. You do see some heat pipes going there on the top side of this photo. And it does look like, in terms of aesthetics, the fan, at least that I'm seeing right now, is very similar to the fan on the 4090. And you can see some CNC milled that looks like aluminium, or it could be something else. It does look like aluminium because it's white, which is like, so not only the heatsink has fins, but it also looks like it has like a massive lump of metal there to dissipate the heat. So that's good. That's I kind of like that one. Right, moving to our next photo. We've got another side photo here that I wanted to bring up. Let me just go to it. So the side photo that I'm talking about is actually the biggest bit. So the side photo I'm talking about is actually really, really interesting, because you can see the large lump of metal that I was talking about, so the large metallic heatsink that I was talking about, and the way it's so first of all, the first thing I'm looking at is the way it's disposed, the way it's orientated. It's at a parallel with the motherboard themselves, which indicates that if they have definitely tried multiple PCB configurations for some of their models. Now, as I said, these photos aren't new. They've been surfing the web. Well, they've been on the internet for quite a while now. And what I can say is initially we thought it was like a 4090 Ti model, which never got released because I don't think they were worried. They had it probably as an option in case of AMD pushing the RDNA 3 generation further than they've expected. So in case the AMD had a bigger, faster, better GPU, they would have just pulled this one out of the hat and made a massive 4090 Ti, probably $3,000 or something like that, to compete with them. But in this case, they probably just kept it under wraps and probably experimented with it for the 5090. Now, again, we don't know for sure that this is going to be the final cooling solution. We don't know for sure if it is going to be free PCBs for one GPU included in the 5090s. So the 5090 will be split into free PCBs, which is free boards, basically. But looking at this photo, it does look like the surface area used for heat dissipation is actually greatly increased. Now it does look like it's rough. It's not refined because it's probably a test model, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Probably the end heat sinks will probably be a lot better finished, so to speak. But it does look like there's a massive surface for the GPU die, which tends to kind of like which tends to make me think that they actually are using the multi die configuration for the gaming Blackwell GPUs as well. Sorry for repeating myself. So it's one chip with two GPU cores in there, let's call them cores or dies. So it does seem like it could, by the size of it, it does seem like it could accommodate a bigger GPU chip, let's call it like that. Yeah. Right, so this does look massive. And this also looks like something they've never done before. So I've never seen such model of a GPU heatsink currently on the market, so commercially available, as in their 4090 heatsinks are definitely way different than this. Now looking at the size of it, it is massive, and this I'm still trying to figure out how are they going to combine those PCBs together. So my thoughts are, so there's going to be obviously a PCB that's going to be parallel with the motherboard, and that PCB is going to be slotted into another PCB, which is going to be inserted into the motherboard as we normally do. So there'll be probably a PCB which has all the IOs, so that's the input output input output units like HDMI, display ports, so on and so forth. And that board would probably be slotted into the PCI slot as we normally do for all the current GPUs, but it will also probably have on it some connections for the board which will actually contain the GPU die and maybe some memory dies, I would say. It could be that we're gonna see some memory dies on this side alongside the GPU die. I don't know for sure, but this one will be probably will be the second PCB, which will be, I don't know if it's slotted or it's just soldered somehow into the main PCB, which will just have the display AOs and will insert itself into the motherboard and will be the PCIe connection towards the motherboard going towards the CPU and such and so forth. So we've got at least two PCBs right now that I can imagine looking at this cooler that might make sense to me. But again, looking at the massive size of it, it will be a very efficient, I would say, and it will be a vast surface of heat dissipation, which will make it very easy for heat to go out of the chipset and into the heatsink, and then dissipated via the radiator, via the fins, and via the fans themselves. So again, this does look like something new. This does look like something fresh. It, in my personal opinion, it is more efficient because not only you've got more surface to dissipate the heat, but you're using that surface smarts. So instead of making like a massive, I don't know, GPU that occupies half the computer, you've actually used all the geometrical sides of that heatsink. So you've used left-hand side, probably bottom, probably top, probably, I don't know exactly where, probably in the middle. I don't know where we're going to fit the third PCB, but they've actually used more sides of that heatsink to get in contact with the components that actually heat up, which will be the memory chips, and will be the GPU die, and will be the power MOSFETs as well, or the VRMs. So they are definitely thinking out of the box. Whoever's designed this is quite smart, if you ask me. Now again, there's not much I could say about this apart from the massive area that's used to dissipate heat, and the fact that it does look like there's going to be a small board there, so it's not under no way we've got the massive board that well, it's not massive, but it's a lot smaller than the current PCB of the 4090 series, which again lets us to believe that there could be possibly multiple PCBs, and it does look like it would be interesting. I would personally want to see this working on a model if possible. I don't know, leakers out there, if there's any people that have information, or they could probably get out like a working video of a model and some temps or something like that. That would be like, it will really rock the community. Right, in terms of photos, I think we've been through the main ones. There's only one I haven't covered, and that is the shroud photo, which is the GPU cover. Going through the shroud photo, let me just bring it up. All I could say is it is very similar to what we currently have on the 40 series and what we've had on the 30 series. It does look like it's not properly finished. It does look like it's a test model. Yeah, I am glad that they're maintaining the same style with the aluminum or the metallic cover on the GPU. To be honest, I prefer it more than what we've seen on the previous on the other third parties that use NVIDIA chipsets to make GPUs. I kind of like it. It's not as busy. It doesn't have tons of RGB. It doesn't have tons of pins or logos or whatever, LEDs or anything like that. It's just simple. So if they keep to the shroud, I would personally be happy. If they want to change it, that's fine, but just maintain the style, in my personal opinion, because it actually works. It does show high quality. It does pretty much, it kind of like reflects what NVIDIA is on about: efficiency, quality, being like top 5 companies in the world. Money is no problem to them, but they also want to sell a product. They also want to make sure that their brand is properly represented. So their Founder Edition 5090 GPUs, I think they're looking at making them as appealing as possible. They don't want to just put some standard looking GPUs out there and call them Founder Edition, because the NVIDIA is basically at another level anymore. It has stratospherically pushed itself this year to one of the biggest companies on the planet. They're basically head-to-head with Microsoft, Apple, and I don't know, probably Tesla, something like that. I'm not big on companies, but yeah, they're just massive right now, and I think they will look at creating a GPU that looks absolutely fantastic for the next series. And considering that, they're so in demand right now, I think they want to maintain that high position. And there's one thing I haven't touched about but obviously it's not related to this discussion, but I'm just going to quickly mention it as well, because I'm not going to make any videos about 5090 until the 5090 gets released. There's, in terms of cost, everybody absolutely on all the social media forums I'm following and groups, everybody's saying that it's gonna be massively expensive, and they're worried and they're making fun of it and all that. And I have to say that I think it will, without doubt, it will be more expensive than the 4090 series. There's no way it costs as much. It will definitely be more. So I would expect over, so in terms of American dollars, over 2,500 easy for the size, price, and technology they're gonna put into it. Because that's gonna matter a lot. So it's not gonna be, it will be a truly professional GPU. It's not gonna be for the casual gamers, and probably it's not gonna be even for the high-end gamers. It will probably be for the eccentric gamer rather than yeah, because it will be prohibitively expensive. And to be honest, with the current technology that we have nowadays, you don't need a 5090 to game at high quality settings. So even if you're playing 4K or ultra wide, it could get away with different GPUs, 4090s, RTX 7000s, maybe RDNA 4 for the mainstreams, because I heard they're going to have better ray tracing, so who knows, they're probably going to be able to push a bit more out of it. But you could easily game with a lot of GPUs nowadays on high settings. This GPU though, this will be like for eccentrics basically, and it will be for muscle flexing. It will be a lot more powerful than the rest, but it won't be as accessible, unfortunately. So that's it. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thank you very much for watching this video. And if you've got any comments, please put them below. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get my channel bigger, but I'm not gonna do sponsors or anything like that. I just want bigger community on my channel. Anyways, thank you very much, guys.